Hey there, good morning, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Block Thrasher Daily Crypto Update, where we are simplifying crypto by shattering the complexities with news, commentary, analysis, and education. Every morning we start off with a little bit of education with the word of the day. And the word of today is not that uncommon of a word, but it's a fun one and it's a good one. And it's one that we probably can use pretty frequently within the cryptocurrency space. And the word is boondoggle. That's right. Everywhere we look, there are boondoggles. What is a boondoggle? A boondoggle is a wasteful and worthless project undertaken for political, corporate, or personal gain. Typically, it is a government project funded by taxpayers. Boondoggle, B-O-O-N-D-O-G-G-L-E. Today, we're going to talk about Shiba Inu, the Shiba Inu project a little bit, which has just seen an meteoric, explosive rise of late, riding on the coattails of Dogecoin. And we're going to talk about whether that is a boondoggle or not. But first, let's jump into the market and take a look at what's going on today. We're going to jump back and forth today between CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap.com. Now, I prefer CoinGecko because they tend to be more accurate. They're very, very similar, but there's just a little bit differences and nuances between the way that they figure things. So for instance, if we look at the Bitcoin dominance, today, CoinGecko is reporting that Bitcoin is at 41.1% in dominance, and Ethereum is 19.4%. If we jump over to CoinMarketCap, Bitcoin dominance is 42.1%, so 1% more. And this is pretty consistent, but the Ethereum dominance is 19.8%. versus 19.4%. So I don't know how that works out, but that's the way it is. Well, the reason we're jumping back and forth today is because there is a cryptocurrency which launched 2 days ago, which is in the news, which is now sitting at number 8. So we'll get to that in just a second, but it's not listed on CoinGecko.com. It's only being listed on CoinMarketCap.com. All right, let's jump in and take a look at what's going on with the market. The current total market capitalization is up 3.9% to $2.566 trillion. That's right. This is a good time. You know, I am feeling really good today. And it's not just because the market is green. I don't know why, but I'm not feeling so good physically. I've been doing some really hard physical work, some remodeling type work. And that's hard on the body. I've been on the floor and I'll tell you what, it's not fun, but emotionally and just life is good. Just woke up today just with this unusual sense of the reality that so much of life is good. Yeah, there's so much about life that's difficult. So many trials. Everywhere we look, there's pain and suffering. Everywhere we look. But at the same time, there's so much to enjoy. You know, I hope I'm going to encourage you, all of you today, to just step back for a second and reflect on all of the incredible, even the small things that we get to enjoy. I'm sitting here drinking my Pero, my coffee substitute, and it's incredible. It's so delicious. Yeah, sorry, I had to take another sip. Whenever life throws difficulties at you, it's really good to just step back and think about all the good things, all the blessings, right? And cryptocurrency is one of those blessings. I am so thankful for cryptocurrency because cryptocurrency gives us a way, as we're going to see, another well-known, crazy wealthy former hedge fund manager is talking about today. It gives us a way to escape from the overreaching, draconian, whatever you want to call it, however you want to describe what it is that the Federal Reserve does and the central banks around the world do to erode our wealth away, which really, when you think about it, is immoral. It's like we go and bust our butts and work super hard every day to earn this money, which they're constantly creating more money, more of this money, this fiat money. In our case, if you're in the United States, the US dollar. And it gets given through processes like quantitative easing and corporate bailouts and all, gets given to all these other entities. And the game is rigged, really. And we're busting our butts, working super hard every day to earn this money that if we just save it and hold on to it and try to gain wealth, seriously loses value, significantly loses value over time. So we have to get smart. We have to figure out ways to build wealth outside of the dollar. And the best way to do that right now, I'm convinced, and have been for a long time, since 2016 or earlier, first got interested in crypto back in 2009, 2010 when Bitcoin came out, but really jumped on board. I don't know if I've talked about this, I probably have, but when I really got interested in it was back after the great financial crisis. Of course, that's when Bitcoin was created as a response to that, but started to look into how did our Federal Reserve System actually work? I remember reading a book called The Web of Debt. And I got super curious during that first bailout, right? We had Bear Stearns and all these others. And then under President Bush, they sent out the first stimulus checks. Stimmy checks, they go all the way back. I believe it was 2010, right in there somewhere. It's like, how does this work? Started getting interested. Then I started learning about the Austrian School of Economics versus the Keynesian School. All this stuff just led to that. Eventually, it was like crypto. Yes, crypto is the answer. Here we have an asset like Bitcoin that's not deflationary, that's not under the control of a centralized entity. Which, when you really think about it, centralized control, what is that? It's communism. It really is. It's totalitarianism. It's authoritarianism. Giving that power over to a private entity like the Federal Reserve, when you think about it, is nuts. Not nuts. It's almost immoral. And I think some of our founding fathers would have been appalled by it as well. And some even made statements to you that as soon as you give that power over to the bankers to create money, you've basically given up everything. And it's true. And it's interesting because even on a geopolitical level, that system threatens the very sovereignty of nations itself. Even governments, right, capitulate, I believe, to the central bankers because they have to, because they control the money. That's where the real power lies. A lot of politics, and I'm pretty much agnostic when it comes to politics at this point. Definitely a libertarian leaning type of person. I just want to be free. Just let me go about living my life without all these ridiculous restrictions and laws and, let us pursue life, liberty, and happiness. But what I'm trying to say, and I got off on a sidetrack here, we're supposed to be looking at market prices, but that's what this show's about. It's also about the bigger picture ideas and ideologies. The real power lies with the person who has the power to essentially make the gold, right? He who has the gold makes the rules. Well, now it's not just he who has the gold. Now we have he who makes the gold, because that's the way our system works. Anyway, let's get back to the market. Gas prices are continuing to be high, not as bad as yesterday, but a standard is 173 on the GWAY. Transaction fees, very painful. Bitcoin is $56,431.89, up 2.3% in the last 24 hours. Ethereum continues to see very nice gains. It is $4,275 as we speak, up 7.9% in the last 24 hours. That's a 31.8%, so almost 32% gain on the week. Ethereum capturing more market share every single day. Now at 19.4% of the total market capitalization. This is incredible. Binance Coin also up, currently trading at $663.14, up 2.2% in the last 24 hours. That's a 9.1% gain on the week. This is a good week for crypto. XRP is up 2.8% to $1.45. We're seeing green just across the board. Even Doge is up 1.4% to 49 cents. Doge is down 8.6% though on the week. It is the only crypto in the top 10 that is down for the week. We are starting to see the steam dissipate. Just trying to look for a good word picture and analogy there. This crazy mass and influx of people. See, here's the thing about it. It's incredible because I see people on Facebook, friends of mine who, I maybe talked to them about crypto at some point in time in the past, but then whatever. Suddenly they're like, go Doge, I'm in Doge. Should we keep holding or should we sell? Should we blah, and they have no clue. They literally have no clue that every block there's 10,000 new Doge created every day, 14 million plus Doge created. That in order for the price to stay, especially at this level, now that Doge has reached, it hit a market cap at one point of like $90 billion. Now it's $64 billion. But for that to be sustainable, when you have an asset that is so inflationary, new money has to keep coming in. Right? It's not like Bitcoin where the emission rate is really, really slow and the supply is very, very low. And so as new money comes in, if they hold, that value is maintained and the price continues to rise as adoption increases. Obviously with Dogecoin, we saw some massive adoption, if you want to call it that, with retail people coming in. But it has to keep happening. And there's only so much money there at the end of the day. And then, what's interesting and curious about is we're going to talk about Shiba Inu coin today, which is just an Ethereum token. All these Doge people, and you see it because they're saying it in the Telegram groups and in the Facebook groups and on Reddit. What's the next thing to pump? What's the next coin? Hey guys, what's the next one we're getting into? What are we pumping next? So what does that mean? That means they're going to dump the Doge, take their profits, and go to the next thing. See? So the long-term viability of this in terms of maintaining value or increasing in value is very, 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 very low. Not a Dogecoin hater. I've got no issue. It will be great if Doge holds value and becomes a token for transacting on the internet. Is it the best suited for that? Not necessarily. There are much better things for it. But hey, if it's what gains network effect because it's fun, great. But it should never be viewed as a long-term investment. In fact, the word investment and Doge do not even coincide or go together. Not unless the developers step in, rewrite the core code to decrease the rate of emission and or put a cap on it on the supply at some point in time, which even Elon Musk has stated he recognizes as a problem. And he said he would continue to help boost two things he acknowledged. One, the top 20 addresses that hold the massive supply, 40+% of the supply, if they were to sell or burn their Doge, number one. And number two, if the emission and supply issues were fixed, then it would be a more serious longer-term investment vehicle, right? All right, moving on. Cardano, currently $1.75. Cardano is the number two. Cardano takes the number two spot in terms of weekly gain. Bitcoin Cash has actually outperformed the only token that has outperformed Cardano this week. Cardano up 36.8% on the week. up 2.1% in the last 24 hours to $1.75. Polkadot is currently $39.57. It is up 7.2% in the last 24 hours, up 14.9% on the week. And we're going to jump over to coinmarketcap.com right now because there's a new kid on the block. ICP, the Internet Computer, launched 2 days ago. Within 2 days, it has reached a market capitalization of $42 billion, putting it in the number 8 spot. However, it is currently dropping down 11.98% in the last 24 hours. It is currently trading at $338.24. Why has it launched to such heights? We're going to look at that a little bit later. What is the, quote, internet computer, an ICP? So sit tight for that. Continuing back with the market prices today. Bitcoin Cash, just seeing this unbelievable 58.1% increase in the week. Bitcoin Cash is interesting. It's one of those that seems to pump and rise, and then it kind of fades away for a bit, and everybody forgets about it. And then has this pump again. It's like, oh, hey, hello, Bitcoin Cash. Where have you been? And that's what's happening right now. Currently $1,497.96. You know, I wonder if anyone ever really has bought Bitcoin Cash. I mean, I'm sure there people have. I'm just saying small numbers. Or if it's just people that received it in the fork, all the Bitcoin whales of old are still holding on to the majority of it. Although you've got to think, so many sold that for Bitcoin. Obviously, the Bitcoin maximalists and the people that were in that camp sold way, long time ago. So here it is at number 9 on Wednesday, May 12th. Fascinating. Litecoin up 22.8% to $375.22. You know, both of these, what's interesting about these coins when you think about it to me is Dogecoin, Bitcoin Cash, and Litecoin, right? They're the only 3 cryptocurrencies in the top 10, currently in the top 10, that are basically just clones of Bitcoin and really just do what Bitcoin does. That's it. And all they really do is either act as a store of value, as a digital asset, or potentially might be used for payments. And that's about it. Whereas the rest of the cryptos in the top 10, Ethereum, Binance Coin, Cardano, Polkadot, they are smart contract dApp platforms where people are building. So they have other tokens that are launched on top of that, right? And then there's those transaction fees that occur. And so that brings value to those platforms. But yet we have these like remnants of old almost with Litecoin and Bitcoin Cash and Dogecoin. They've been around for a long time. And they tend to pop up into the top 10 and then drop out of the top 10 and back and forth. But it's just a curious thing to watch. Anyway, just an aside thought. Uniswap seeing a nice bit of a pump in the last 24 hours, up 15.1%. And Vitalik Buterin, founder of Ethereum, has something interesting to say about Uniswap today. He's advising the Uniswap team in a certain direction, and I think it's a good idea. Could bring a lot of value to Uniswap. So we'll see if they listen to what he says, and I'm going to talk about what that is in just a moment. Chainlink, the Oracle token, is up 5.3% to $48.24. Chainlink starting to play with $50. Ethereum Classic continues to hold, up 1.6% in the last 24 at $106.42. Stellar is 68 cents. VeChain is up just slightly, but up on the week 8.6% to 20 cents. Solana seeing a nice gain in the last 24 hours, up 13.4% to $46.55, which is good to see. I've been slowly DCA into Solana. US just seeing this meteoric rise. It doubled this week, up 105%, up 25.8% in the last 24 hours. Why? EOS is enjoying this gain on the announcement that a DEX, a decentralized exchange, a Uniswap type of platform, will soon be released. And maybe there's some speculation that there will be a Uniswap type airdrop on that. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. EOS, Solana, VeChain, these also being smart contract platform type of projects that once were all the rage and talked about quite often. Well, Solana's up and coming, but EOS just was was such a disappointment in so many ways and underdelivered on its promises. It was sort of the OG of the quote Ethereum killers, which it never materialized. And so it's interesting to see it in this bull run market and with this announcement of a DEX seeing some nice gains at this point now. So we'll see what happens with EOS. All right, moving on to our stories of the day. Getting into the news. TikTok fan, listen, this is good news. Watch out, 16, 17-year-old girls doing your dances and everything like that on TikTok. Because as entertaining as that is, guess what? Coinbase's app has now surpassed TikTok. Not just TikTok, but also Instagram and Facebook on iOS in the US. How about that? How's that for a sign of adoption and some good news? Coinbase's app, Coinbase, the crypto trading app, the crypto purchasing app, Coinbase, has been downloaded and installed and has surpassed TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. That's huge. In fact, I'm going to go post that in the groups because that is huge. That's awesome. All right, let's talk about this Internet Computer ICP token, which just launched 2 days ago and reached a market value of $45 billion within just 2 days. That's incredible. On May 10th, 213,710 ICP utility tokens went live under the authority of the network Nervos system. This enabled them to move onto exchanges such as Coinbase, which had plans to list the asset on Coinbase Pro. Yeah, that was also interesting. I mean, 2 days after it launched, it's on Coinbase. Regular Coinbase app. What's up with that? Cardano, it took like years. Now, I mean, some might say, well, they were just waiting for Cardano to become fully decentralized, but I don't know. It's almost like there's something political. I wonder. Yeah, you got to wonder. You see these things, you just wonder, like, what? Anyway, according to CoinMarketCap, this makes it the 8th largest cryptocurrency in terms of market capitalization. The goal of the Internet Computer Protocol is, quote, to extend the functionality of the public internet. For instance, enabling software developers or content creators to publish anything without having to go through centralized corporations like Amazon. According to project founder Dominic Williams, the idea is to get around corporate walled gardens while also reducing cost. Eventually, he says users could potentially create social media networks that could rival current titans like Facebook. Okay, This isn't really anything all that new. During an interview with Bloomberg, Williams went into greater detail about what distinguishes internet computer from other blockchains. For example, he noted that many blockchains today operate on cloud computing platforms like Amazon Web Services. However, the internet computer runs entirely on dedicated hardware. Now, that is interesting, and that could be, without doubt, a huge plus, but it could also be a negative. If it requires proprietary computer hardware, which it doesn't necessarily state that, but if it does, that's a downside because that's a barrier to entry in terms of setting up a node and running that node, that sort of thing. So I want to look into that a little bit deeper and just haven't had time yet because this thing just popped on the radar. But it is an advantage because that is a big problem. If your entire blockchain and all your nodes are running on Amazon Web Services and Amazon Web Services alone, and Amazon decides to pull the plug, you are screwed. Definitely something to be concerned about. Williams said that the internet computer is hosted by special node computer machines that are installed by independent parties in independent data centers around the world. This way, he said, the internet computer is able to create a blockchain by combining the node's computer capacity. This enables it to run at web speed and to increase its capacity with demand and run very efficiently. According to Williams, this means that you can build things on a blockchain now that you never would have been, would have never been possible. He lists things such as websites, internet services, and enterprise systems, and added that they would all utilize smart contracts. Building them on a blockchain enables them to utilize features such as tokenization. Williams predicts seeing an explosion in things like tokenized social media. So I see this just as another option. It's not as if any of these things that the co-founder Williams is talking about isn't possible on Cardano, Polkadot, Solana, Algorand, any of the Web3 modern blockchain platforms. They can all do this. But here it is. So we'll keep an eye on it. We'll see. We'll see. It might just be sort of initial exuberance. I mean, the price is already coming down in the midst of an otherwise up market. Yeah, even as we speak, down 14.28%. So a lot of people jumped in on this thing in the beginning, it looks like. Probably largely due to the Coinbase listing. We're like, huh? What's that? What's this? It does not have a max supply listed as of yet, but that does not mean that it doesn't have a max supply because sometimes CoinMarketCap either doesn't have that information or is slow on it. Total supply, it says, is 469,000. Million. While the circulating supply right now is 193 million. Volume is also dropping. So yeah, it looks like everybody's trying. Where can you get this thing? Let's look at the markets. Currently, ICP is trading on Binance, Huobi, Coinbase Pro. It is in the regular Coinbase app as well. Gate.io, KuCoin, OKX, CoinList Pro, Bitbox. Bunch of exchanges right out of the gate. All right, moving on to the next story of the day. What is Shiba Inu? SHIB, S-H-I-B, token symbol SHIB. Read before you invest. This from Georgiev, CryptoPotato.com. Perhaps it is safe to say that Dogecoin took center stage in the cryptocurrency market since the beginning of 2021. Yeah, so much so that I'm getting sick of it. Are you getting sick of it? It's like everywhere you look, Doge. For a while, it was really bad. It's tapering off, thank God. But for a while, I was like, I just don't want to hear about Doge anymore. Especially if you understand the risk that is being created there for people and the negative impact that it could have. As I once have stated before, if you didn't listen to that episode, I'm concerned that Dogecoin could be like a Trojan horse, right? Where it's or crypto's detractors, whether it be intentional or unintentional. You know how it's kind of like don't let a good crisis go to waste type of thing. Well, if you can create a crisis, how can you create a crisis in crypto? get a massive amount of retail investors who know nothing about crypto to come in and buy a crypto that is not stable because it's super inflationary and has all these other issues. Get it to go up, 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 pump, pump, up. People put in their money, put in their money, put in their money. Then it gets dumped on by whoever it is that holds the massive supply amount, dumped on, and then that gives fodder to the SEC and whatever regulatory agency wants to say, hey, we need to step in and protect these retail investors because so many got burned. And so we have to protect them. So what a beautiful setup this scenario could be to usher in regulated. We want to continue to be able to speculate. Sure we do. But it needs to be on things that actually have the possibility of becoming useful in that way, right? As an investment vehicle, what have you. So anyway, the coin, continuing on with this article, the coin that started as a joke has increased so much that for a brief time, it became the fourth largest cryptocurrency by market cap, carrying a market cap of over $70 billion. Indeed, an expensive joke. This was made possible thanks to a flock of retail investors, a bunch of Reddit groups, and of course, Elon Musk, one of Dogecoin's most avid commentators. Commentators, not the right word. I mean, all he does is just like post memes, right? I mean, post Twitter, post tweets about it. Although, you know, it's interesting. It's starting to not have the effect it once had, which indicates that we're running out of steam, running out of retail investor steam, right? However, this also did, this whole Musk and meme and Reddit thing, what it did also was propel a lot of clone coins, most of which are heavily inspired by Doge. And that's what I was talking about earlier. All the Doge holders, you know, are super excited because they saw some crazy gains, right? Now they want to sell and get into the next thing, right? Clearly signaling that it's a pump and dump. What can we get in next? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? Shiba Inu, SHIB, despite its claims of being something different, is an obvious example. Dogecoin carries the logo of the Shiba Inu dog breed, while SHIB uses it directly. With this in mind, we've decided to compile a comprehensive guide aimed at shedding some light on the cryptocurrency that took the market by a storm in just a few days. All right, let's get into some of the details here. What is Shiba Inu? SHIB. Meet the Dogecoin killer. Self-proclaimed. As Crypto Potato reported, SHIB quickly became one of the hottest cryptocurrencies. This became possible after Doge saw an astronomical increase and surpassed 70 cents in May 2021, becoming arguably the most discussed and popular cryptocurrency for the time being. Dogecoin inspired many to create tokens bearing similar characteristics. The common trait they share is that they are all named after a dog breed, most of which take after Shiba Inu. According to the official website and their woof paper, that's right, not a white paper, a woof paper, which is Shiba Inu, white paper's version. SHIB represents an experiment in decentralized, spontaneous community building. That's a tongue twister. And what does that even mean? Decentralized, spontaneous community building. It's a bunch of gobbledygook. That's what that is right there. Apart from that, the team is attempting to create an ecosystem consisting of a few tokens, a decentralized exchange called Shiba Swap, and a fully fledged community. So they're promising a Uniswap type of decentralized exchange on the Ethereum blockchain, obviously, since this is an Ethereum token. So they're going to go up against Uniswap, I guess, is the idea. Although it has to be mentioned that apart from the tokens and the growing community, which is caused by the rising price and nothing more, there's nothing else that's currently complete. So the project's been around for a year and they got squat. Nothing is complete. Begging the question if SHIB's valuation is justified or not. In any case, SHIB is an Ethereum-based ERC20 token that is also nicknamed the Dogecoin killer within the project's community. The unanticipated major holder of SHIB. SHIB has a total token supply of 1 quadrillion. 50% of it has been locked as liquidity to Uniswap. However, the other half is where it gets interesting. The team behind SHIB has sent 500 trillion tokens to the co-founder of Ethereum, Vitalik Buterin. The transactions can be tracked on-chain, and there's links in this article. Commenting on the matter in the project's white paper, the founder, who's anonymous, unlike Dogecoin's founders, said, "We sent over 50% of the total supply to Vitalik. There's no greatness without a vulnerable point. And as long as, what? There's no greatness without a vulnerable point? Ridiculous. And as long as VB, Vitalik Buterin, doesn't rug us, then Shiba will grow and survive." So we're going to create this potentially dangerous situation in which we're going to give half of the tokens to Vitalik Buterin, who could just dump at any time. Why would Vitalik Buterin not? Why would he hold? This is the question. Why would he support this? Buterin's all about Ethereum. He doesn't give a crap about Shiba Inu. The funny thing is that following the meteoric increase in SHIB, which is up over 300,000% since February 2021, until the time this guide is published, Buterin's SHIB tokens are worth a lot more than his ETH. What? At the time of this writing, Buterin's ETH is worth around 1.4 billion, whereas the SHIB in his public account is worth around 15 billion. It's also worth noting that following in the footsteps of Shiba Inu, other clone tokens such as Akita Inu and Husky have also sent part of their supply to Vitalik. What in the world? $15 billion. And the total market cap of Ethereum is sitting at $61 billion. So Buterin could sell his SHIB and buy 15 billion of Ethereum and significantly drive up the Ethereum price. In theory, this is something that could happen. Unbelievable. In any case, the supply of the token remains seriously concentrated. Apart from the 50% held by Buterin, there are 2 other wallets that hold 10% of the supply collectively, presenting serious risk of massive price crashes should they decide to sell their coins into the market. Yeah, I'll bet you those are held by the anonymous developers. The SHIB token, what is it used for? It's worth nothing that the entire Shiba Inu ecosystem consists of 3 tokens: SHIB, Leash, and Bone. Once their decentralized exchange, Shiba Swap, is ready, which is currently supposedly ongoing security tests and audits, users will be able to stake their tokens and earn rewards. For staking SHIB, users receive X SHIB. For staking Leash, X Leash, and for Bone, T-Bone. Per the white paper, this is how the incentives look like. All right, I'm going to stop there. Actually, no, because it continues with the must-read things to consider before buying. Let's just look at this quickly. While the SHIB cryptocurrency has one of the fastest growing communities with hundreds of thousands of people throughout their different social media channels, there are a few things to keep in mind when looking into the project. Number 1, their official Medium pages, 2 posts only. The first one was the announcement of the development, and the second one was an update that came many months later and didn't really give any notable updates. Number 2, the SHIB founder is anonymous. It's really unclear how many developers are working on the project, and there's no precise roadmap as to when users can expect project updates and deliverables such as the Shiba Swap exchange. Number 3, the total supply is 1 quadrillion. You heard that right. Not billion, 1 quadrillion tokens. That's a lot. Half of them are presumably burned because they were sent to Vitalik Buterin. It's a speculation to discuss whether he would do something with them, but given his status in the community, it's unlikely he would do something to harm the ecosystem. However, there are plenty of token holders who are in possession of a high percentage of the remaining 50%, which is a red flag. As of writing these lines, the SHIB token has already increased more than 18,000% over the past few months, which entitled it to a spot in the top 20 largest cryptocurrencies with a market cap of 12 billion, according to market cap Is Shiba overvalued? Only time will tell. Be cautious about this one. Just be cautious. All right, moving on. Vitalik Buterin, once again, in the news, stating Uni should become an Oracle token. In a post on the Uniswap governance forum, Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin has put forward his thoughts on why the Uni token would be well suited as an Oracle token. On May 12th, he detailed the importance of accurate price feeds and oracles in the decentralized DeFi sector. He stated that while Uniswap does provide an oracle for the price of ERC20 tokens traded on the decentralized exchange DEX, it's not a true oracle, as it does not provide prices for anything in the outside world, such as fiat currency. He says this is a problem. Algorithmic stablecoins need an oracle for the price of USD to be able to function, and they specifically need an oracle for the USD, the off-chain fiat asset, and not any specific on-chain instantiation of US dollar. Synthetic assets also need accurate oracles for the price of ETH. So Buterin made the recommendation that Uniswap and the Uni token step in to provide this. He went on to state that the most governance-minimized stablecoins use Chainlink as their oracle at the moment. However, Chainlink's complexity may be a drawback in this case, as there is no automated penalty mechanism for the provisioning of wrong data. Complementing Chainlink with a more minimalist alternative that is more focused on optimizing incentives and maximizing the cost of attack would be a good way forward. And I agree. And I hope that the Uniswap developers take heed and do this, because that could bring additional value to Uniswap, which would be a good thing. Ethereum gas fees surged to all-time high on meme coin pumps. Over the past week, average Ethereum network fees have spiked by 470% to a record high on May 11th, and they are not looking like slowing down. All right, that's just an ongoing story. We won't spend much time on that. On to the last item of the day, Stanley Druckenmiller. Who is Stanley Druckenmiller? Just a little bit about him before we launch into what he is saying about the Federal Reserve and cryptocurrency. Stanley Freeman Druckenmiller, born June 14th, 1953, is an American investor, hedge fund manager, and philanthropist. He is the former chairman and president of Duquesne Capital, which he founded in 1981. He closed the fund in August of 2010 because he felt unable to deliver high returns to his clients. At the time of closing, it had over $12 billion in assets. From 1988 to 2000, he managed money for George Soros as the lead portfolio manager for Quantum Fund. He is reported to have made $260 million in 2008. So, Stanley Druckenmiller is saying that crypto is the solution to the problem created by the Federal Reserve. After years of searching for the real problem to solve, cryptocurrencies have finally found it, said billionaire investor Stanley Druckenmiller in a recent interview. The 67-year-old believes that the U.S. Fed and other central banks have threatened the strength of their fiat currencies, which is where BTC and other digital assets could step in. Speaking to CNBC, Druckenmiller touched upon the U.S. Federal Reserve's policy undertaken after the COVID-19 pandemic struck. The U.S. Central Bank has begun printing excessive amounts of the dollar in order to protect its citizens and financial markets. Which one is the real reason still remains a mystery, the American investor said, but he believes these actions could threaten the dollar's strength in the long run. Exactly. Is it to protect the American people, or is it to protect the financial markets? It's to protect the financial markets. I can't find any period in history, says Druckenmiller, where monetary and fiscal policy were this out of step with the economic circumstances. Not one. Although he was supportive of the Fed's initial reason to help the U.S. economy during the most painful days of the pandemic, he believes the central bank has overstepped its boundaries and doesn't see a way back. Furthermore, the billionaire asserted that inflation has become among the most significant threats to the U.S. economy if the central bank doesn't ease its policy. So here comes crypto to the rescue. Should the Fed continue with its actions, the dollar's status as the global reserve currency could soon come to a halt, Druckenmiller continued. Wow, so he's calling for an end, not calling for an end, predicting the potential end of the dollar as a global reserve currency. As a result, the world will be in need of a suitable replacement, which could be tricky. Most nations distrust China, while Europe is a mess. As such, the investor sees a viable option emerging from the cryptocurrency world. He touched upon a comment from years ago to prove his point. Quote, "You probably don't remember this joke, but 5 or 6 years ago, I said that crypto was a solution in search of a problem. The problem has been clearly identified now. It is Jerome Powell and the rest of the world's central bankers. There is a lack of trust." Ultimately, he noted that the most likely network to take charge would be some kind of ledger system invented by some kids from MIT or Stanford or some other engineering school that hasn't even been developed yet that can replace the dollar worldwide. Dun, dun, dun. Another one bites dust. We got billionaire after billionaire, investor after seeing the light. Seeing the light. We've known, for years, people within the Austrian School of Economics, people who were looking at alternative investments to hedge against what could potentially happen with the dollar, whether it be gold or silver, have been talking about this will happen eventually. History shows when you give power to create money, fiat, to a central bank, that power, what do they say? Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. When you give that power, it's like it becomes like a drug addict, like a heroin addict. Now we're on this monetary, fiscal heroin, and the policies coming out of the government and the central bank are just pump, because it's believed that this is the route to prosperity. It's believed this is the way to fix the markets. This is believed, and people like Druckenmiller are starting to recognize and see and say, no, this is extremely dangerous, and they are destroying the system. But what's even more incredible than that is that they're also acknowledging that crypto is a solution to that problem. All right, let's wrap things up with our cryptocurrency terminology of the day. We are now are we in the S category? Wow, there's a lot of S's. I don't feel like, well, maybe we are in S. We did R yesterday. Oh yeah, we did Q and R. So looking at S terminology, SHA-256 is a cryptographic hash function that generates a 256-bit signature for a text used in Bitcoin proof of work, POW. That is the mining algorithm for Bitcoin, SHA-256. SIM-swap, sometimes referred to as port-out scams, have come into the spotlight as a major concern for cryptocurrency holders in recent years. Satoshis, sats, the smallest unit of Bitcoin with a value of 0.00000001 BTC. Satoshi Nakamoto, the individual or group of individuals that created Bitcoin. The identity of Satoshi Nakamoto has never been confirmed. Scaling problem. The scaling problem is the limitations of a blockchain's transaction throughput and ability to have fast and low-cost transactions. Scaling solution. A scaling solution is a method of enabling a system to expand. Scam. A fraudulent or deceptive cryptocurrency, or ICO. Scammer. A scammer is someone that participates in a fraudulent scheme. Script. An alternative proof of work, POW algorithm to SHA-256. Used in Bitcoin mining. Script mining relies more heavily on memory than on pure CPU power, aiming to reduce the advantage that ASICs have and hence increase network participation and energy efficiency. Second layer solutions. A set of solutions built on top of a public blockchain to extend its scalability and efficiency, especially for microtransactions or actions. Examples include Plasma, TrueBit, Lightning Network, and more. Secure element. A secure element is a type of hardware chip that runs a specified number of applications. Secure multi-party computation, SMPCs. SMPC is a subfield of cryptography that allows parties to compute a function while keeping the inputs private. Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, we talk about them all the time, you should know what they are, an independent agency of the United States federal government responsible for enforcing federal securities laws, proposing security rules, and regulating the securities industry, the nation's stock and options exchanges, and other related activities and organizations. Security token. A security token is essentially a digital form of traditional securities. Security token offering. A security token offering, STO, is a public offering where tokenized digital securities are sold. Seed phrase. A single starting point when deriving keys for a deterministic wallet. Segregated witness, SegWit, a Bitcoin improvement proposal, BIP, that aimed to fix transaction malleability on Bitcoin. Selfish mining, a situation in which a miner mines a new block but does not broadcast this new block to the other miners. Sell wall, a situation where a large limit order has been placed to sell when a cryptocurrency reaches a certain value. Sharding. Sharding is a scaling approach that enables splitting of blockchain states into partitions containing states and transaction history so that each shard can be processed in parallel. Shilling. The act of enthusiastically promoting a cryptocurrency or ICO project. Elon Musk has been shilling Dogecoin. Shitcoin, a coin with no obvious potential value or usage. Short. A trading technique in which a trader borrows an asset in order to sell it, with the expectation that the price will continue to decline. In the event that the price does decline, the short seller will then buy the asset at this lower price in order to return it to the lender of the asset, making the difference in profit. Side chain, a blockchain ledger that runs in parallel to a primary blockchain where there is a two-way link between the primary chain and side chain. Signal. Signals are a call to action to either buy or sell an asset. Silk Road, an online black market that existed on the dark web. Now shut down by the FBI, it had accepted Bitcoins for transactions. Simplified Payment Verification, also SPV. A lightweight client to verify blockchain transactions, downloading only block headers, and requesting proof of inclusion to the blockchain in the Merkle tree. Slippage. Slippage happens when traders have to settle for a different price than what they initially requested due to price movement. Smart contract. A smart contract is a computer protocol intended to facilitate, verify, or enforce a contract on the blockchain without third parties. Smart contract audit. A smart contract audit is a security check done by cybersecurity professionals meant to ensure that the on-chain code behind a smart contract is devoid of bugs or security vulnerabilities. Soft cap. The minimum amount that an initial coin offering ICO wants to raise. Soft fork. Blockchain. A protocol upgrade where only previously valid transactions are made invalid, with most soft forks requiring miners to upgrade their mining software. Solidity. Solidity is a programming language used by Ethereum for developing smart contracts. Spoon. A hard spoon is a meta protocol that exists on top of a blockchain. Spot. A contract or transaction buying or selling a cryptocurrency for immediate settlement or payment and delivery of the cryptocurrency on the market. Spot market. A public market in which cryptocurrencies are traded for immediate settlement. It contrasts with a futures market in which settlement is due at a later date. Spyware. Spyware is a malicious malware that records all of the activities on an electronic device. Stablecoin is a cryptocurrency with extremely low volatility, sometimes used as a means of portfolio diversification. Examples include gold-backed cryptocurrency or fiat-pegged cryptocurrency. Staking. Participation in a proof-of-stake POS system to put your tokens in to serve as a validator to the blockchain and receive rewards. Stale block. A block which was successfully mined but not included on the current longest blockchain, which usually because another block at the same height was added to the chain first. State channel, a second layer scaling solution that reduces the total on-chain transactions necessary, moving the transactions off-chain and letting participants sign to the main chain after multiple off-chain transactions. Storage. Decentralized. Decentralized storage refers to the concept of storing files online by splitting them into encrypted fragments and delegating these fragments to multiple nodes on a distributed network. Substrate. Substrate is a web app developed framework developed by Parity Technologies, which works with Polkadot. Substrate is used to launch tokens that operate on the Polkadot as sidechains. Symbol, the ticker of a cryptocurrency. For example, Bitcoin symbol is BTC. Okay, friends, that's a wrap for the day. I hope you have a great Wednesday and a great rest of the week. I look forward to talking with you tomorrow. Talk to you soon. Have a great day. Bye now.